Good morning, students. Today we will revise the first chapter of your grammar book, that is sentences and phrases. At first, sentences. So, what is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words that express a complete thought. For example, Sushant is going to school. This is a sentence because it expresses a complete thought. Next, a sentence must minimally have a subject and a verb. For example, Rohit walks. Here, the subject is Rohit and the verb is walks. And these express a complete thought. So, Rohit walks is also an example of sentence. Sometimes subject can be omitted if it is understood. For example, if I ask you or if I say to you, get out, you will easily understand that I am asking you to get out. Here, the subject in the sentence is omitted since it is understood to be you. There are other parts of a sentence you can use in addition to a subject and a verb. Parts of sentence: subject and predicate, transitive verb and intransitive verb, direct object and indirect object, complements. At first, we will learn subject and predicate. Subject is the person or thing about which something is being stated. For example, John is a good boy. Who is a good boy? The answer is John. Here, John is the subject. So, identifying the verb, if we ask question using the WH words who or what, the answer would be the subject. Whereas the subject is the first part of a sentence, predicate is the second part of the sentence. Predicate says something about the subject. Leaving the subject, the rest part of the sentence is a predicate. For example, Rehan loves to play cricket. Here the subject is Rehan. And if we leave the subject, that is Rehan, the rest part of the sentence, that is loves to play cricket, will be the predicate. Right? Next, direct object and indirect object. She gave me a book. Here you can see that there are two objects, me and a book. We all know that by asking questions with what or whom, the answer we get is an object. Here, the question is, which one is the direct object and which one is the indirect object? Direct object. If we question the verb using what, then the answer will be a direct object. And if we ask question using the verb whom, the answer we get will be an indirect object. In this sentence, she gave me a book. If we ask, what did she give me? The answer, a book, will be a direct object. And if we ask, whom did she give a book? The answer, me, will be an indirect object. Next, transitive verb and intransitive verb. Not every verb takes a direct object. The direct object completes the meaning of the verb, but not every verb needs completion. For example, please bring. The sentence feels incomplete. To complete the sentence, we must add a direct object. If we say, please bring coffee, now the sentence is complete. This type of verbs that take direct objects to complete its sentence are called transitive verbs. The meaning of a transitive verb is incomplete without a direct object. Here are some more examples of transitive verbs and their objects. The girls carry water to their village. John threw the ball. I caught a cold. She loves rainbows. Leela conveyed the message. Each of the verbs in these sentences have objects that complete the verb's actions. If the objects were taken out, the results would be illogical and questions would be raised in the mind of the reader. For example, if we say Leela conveyed what? The sense will remain incomplete. So, in case of transitive verbs, we need a direct object to complete the sense. Next, I ran yesterday. The sense is complete, though the verb does not require a direct object. So this type of verbs that do not take the direct objects are called intransitive verbs. The meaning of an intransitive verb is complete on its own. For example, she is standing. They jumped. The dog ran. She sang. A light was shining. Here, standing, jumped, ran, sang, signing are the examples of intransitive verbs. Next, complement. A complement is a word for a group of words, usually an adjective or a noun, that is used after linking verbs such as be or become. The complement identifies or describes the subject of the verb. For example, every morning is a gift. In this sentence, every morning is the subject, is the linking verb, and a gift is the complement. As the words a gift completes the idea. Without it, we could not understand what every morning is. Now, the next topic, phrases. At first, we have to learn what is phrase. A phrase is a group of words that make sense but not complete sense. For example, old and weak, last month, a rainy morning. We cannot call any group of words a phrase. For example, played park football. Here you can see these are a group of words, but as it does not make any sense, so we cannot call it a phrase. But if we say a good student, it does convey a sense, so we can call it a phrase. Now, a phrase is a group of words that does not contain a subject and verb and is used as part of speech. A phrase cannot stand alone as a sentence. Now, what is the difference between phrase and sentence? A phrase is a group of words that does not express a complete thought. But a sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. A phrase does not have a subject or predicate or both. A sentence has both subject and predicate. A phrase does not give complete information about the subject or predicate. A sentence gives complete information about the subject or predicate. There are three types of phrases: noun phrase, adjective phrase, and adverb phrase. If the phrase is in the place of subject and object, then it must be a noun phrase. If the phrase is in the place of adjective, then it must be adjective phrase. If the phrase is in the place of adverb, then it must be adverb phrase. Then, noun phrase. A noun phrase is one that acts as a noun in a sentence. For example, I like singing in the bath. My old maths teacher was Austrian. Here the underlined groups of words in both of the sentences are phrases. But how to identify a noun phrase? We will find noun phrase either in the position of subject or object. We all know that by asking question with who or what, we get subject, and by asking question with what or whom, we get object. If in the position of subject or object there is a phrase, it must be a noun phrase. Let's take an example. I like singing in the bath. What do I like? We all know that by asking question with what, we get an object. But in the object's position, we are getting a group of words. That means a phrase. So it must be a noun phrase. Similarly, if we take another example, my old maths teacher was Austrian. If we ask question, who was Austrian? The answer will be a subject, because we all know that by asking question with who, we get a subject. Here we are getting the answer, my old maths teacher. So we are getting a group of words in place of a subject. So it must be a noun phrase. I hope you all understand. Next, adjective phrase. The word that describes a noun is called adjective. So in the same way, if a group of words describe a noun, it will be an adjective phrase. For example, Rohan, a boy with courage, fought with the thief. Here, the underlined group of words or the phrase is describing the noun Rohan. So it is an adjective phrase. Next, adverb phrase. A group of words that performs the function of an adverb in a sentence. Then it will be called an adverb phrase. For example, he works in a slow manner. Here in this sentence, the underlined group of words or phrase is describing or modifying the verb works. So it acts as adverb. Now, as there is a group of words or phrase in adverb position, it is an adverb phrase. Now, how to identify an adverb phrase? If we ask question using when, where, how and why, we will get adverb phrase. So students, in short, if we get a phrase in the position of subject or object, it must be a noun phrase. If we get a phrase in the position of adjective, then it must be adjective phrase. If we get a group of words in the position of adverb, then it must be an adverb phrase. So go through the video again and practice the exercises in your book. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.